Without outside-the-box thinking, so many things would just not exist, and not only within the automotive business. The world needs creative people. Sometimes it triumphs, sometimes it doesn't. This time we will talk about ideas which sounded glorious, but eventually failed. Honda NA500. Since Honda declined to compete against two-strokes with two-strokes in MotoGP, they needed some batshit idea to keep up at least. As 4 chambers were the most allowed, they came up with oval cylinders with 8 valves and 2 spark plugs per cylinder. Supposedly, it could rev up to 23k RPM, but significant manufacturing problems killed this huge potential. Volkswagen Gletter. Although Volkswagen means a people's car, sometimes they create a totally crazy technology, which may seem stupid at the first glance. This scroll type of a supercharger wasn't their idea, though they made it possible since 1905 patent. It was meant to be maintenance free, but the Gletter was very far from that. The G40 and G60 branded cars used this supercharger. BRM H16. Formula 1 regulations of 1966 allowed either 1.5 liter with forced induction or NA 3 liter. BRM opted for the second one and decided to go crazy with 2 flat 8s laying on each other geared together. With 2 crankshafts, up to 64 valves and 8 camshafts, not only it was notoriously breaking down, but it was heavy as you wouldn't believe. Moto Guzzi V8. Being possibly the smallest real-sized V8, the Moto Guzzi V8 was real close to being not just awesome, but also successful. This water-cooled engine weighed just 45 kilograms and was more powerful than anything else on the starting line. It had 4 cams and 8 tiny 20mm carburetors by Del Auto. Although it lived only for 3 seasons, it was the fastest MotoGP bike for another 20 years. Cadillac V864. The Cadillac L61 seemed to be a V8 like any other. Despite the fact that it was a D-board 425, there was a different thing which made it stand out. With strict emission regulations tying up engineers' hands, it was an 8-cylinder being able to run either on just 6 or 4 cylinders. Its main problem was the too slow software. The engine wasn't unreliable or anything like that, only the advertised advantage was a fiasco.
As you start out, all 8 cylinders are in operation. As power needs lessen, the car automatically goes to 6 cylinders, and then to 4 cylinders. When you need it, it instantly reverts to 8 cylinders again.
Mazda Rotary. Hold on a little, I love Rotary as much as you do, so there is no hate whatsoever. But objectively saying, the Rotary is a great idea that failed. Although the reason why it doesn't exist today are emission regulations, its main problem was also a much shorter engine life compared to a piston unit. The latest Renesis engine was the worst amongst them, having a toughest life to fulfill those limits. Let's just hope Mazda is sorting these things out soon. Air-cooled engine. Air cooling has a number of advantages, mainly a lighter structure and simpler design. It may need a fan to improve its efficiency, but it is still easier than water jackets in the engine block. Other than that, it is louder. You will understand once you hear an old Tatra truck driving by, and it is harder to control engine's temperature. Besides, in most cases, the engine also needs an oil cooler. This technology is still fine for many applications, such as motorcycles, but sadly, it's not suitable for cars anymore. Some Volkswagens, Tatras, and Porsches were amongst the last air-cooled cars.
That